So, more often than not, I get asked this question regarding some of my fanfiction ideas and some of the stuff I write in just fanfiction in general and some of these videos I post here and there. A lot of people ask me the same question. Why do you insist on 85% of the time you make Dipper the villain or like villain-ish? Like you give Dipper a lot of villain traits. And a lot of people have wondered that, like, why do I make him such a horrible human being in some of these? Well, reason being is because he makes a really good villain. He really makes a really good hero-turned-villain kind of character. He really does kind of portray that kind of level of villainy. Now, again, well aware that Gravity Falls is done, it's finito, and it gives me a little time to write however I want. And this is just how I represent that character in my stories. This is just how I represent this character and how it's portrayed in this in these respective universes or shared universes or however you want to put it. But in here, in this Gravity Falls, in the Gravity Falls universe, there's a lot of preface it to kind of plead the case that Dipper would make a really good supervillain. Now, I'm not going to say, like, oh, he's a world-dominating villain. I don't see him as, like, a world-dominating, I'm going to destroy the planet kind of thing. He'd be anything. He'd be kind of like a Magneto meets Syndrome kind of character. He'd be very much a character who has kind of been through a lot. It's damaged him mentally. And that's actually true. Alex Hirsch, the creator of the show, did confirm that Dipper does suffer from PTSD now at the end of the show. So, and I'm not saying, oh, just because you're mentally ill makes you evil. No, I'm not saying that. Untreated, that could lead to a lot of dangers. And Dipper was not exactly the most mentally stable person throughout the show. We also see that he is very much out for himself in some cases. He can be very selfish, very egistical, obviously using stuff to one-up Mabel, try to get with Wendy. He actually, in one deleted scene, murdered the deleted scene of Escape to Reality, there was a scene where he murdered the 90s version of himself with a neck snap. Just merciless. He's also totally okay with killing people. He is really okay with the idea of murdering someone at a young age, and Stan kind of stoked the flames for that. So, it's very clear that, he is already teetering the line of, like, a morally gray character. And with all the stuff that Bill did to him when he possessed him, all the stuff that they had to go through, he very much, has been pushed into... He could easily be pushed in the later years of being just this kind of monster, really. Now, the way I've always... as I was going back to, the villain, I always kind of pictured him as kind of like a Syndrome-esque character, where in most of my shared universes stories and here and there, whenever I wrote them, not saying anything about the Infinityverse, the stuff I work, the shared fanfiction universe I work with Jason Voorhees 2011, in most of my personal fanfictions where he's sharing a universe with other superheroes, he's usually like, he doesn't like them. He doesn't like the power they have because he's already been bent to the will of one godlike being, and it scares the shit out of him at the idea of being, his life being put in the hands of other very powerful beings. So he's very much, I want to protect myself, I want to protect my family, I want to protect... it's very much a road to hell paved with good intentions kind of thing. He would be very much like that. And like I said, he's already a morally gray character. He is very much a very morally gray, very, he can be downright evil at some points in the show, and just go back and look at the original show. This dude could be straight up a monster at some points. And as much as I love the character, I will admit that he did some shit that was very not cool. Just not cool, and could be concerned with just him being pure, like, I have this sneaking feeling, and I've kind of written this at some points, where if Bill wasn't in the way, Dipper would already be trying to look for a way to, at least in some way, become his own villain, or something of that nature. Like, he would be trying to run Gravity Falls at that point. So that's the big thing, is that he's already, like, you could make the argument of, oh, you know, he got rid of Bill because it was a bad thing, or maybe he just wanted to take out Bill so he could run things. He's intelligent. He's willing to do what others won't do. He's egotistical. He's, you know, very narcissistic, and he has no qualms about, you know, fighting dirty. And he's very intelligent. He's, you know, a lot of people give Mason, Dipper's real name, a lot of discredit of how intelligent he is, and kind of using that intelligence and intellect into kind of using it maliciously. Now, in the shared universe, I was talking, the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe I do with my friend over on fanfiction.net, over on that end of the spectrum, Dipper is actually masquerading as a villain. He's actually masquerading as a pretend villain, to which he's basically what he's doing is pretending to be a supervillain in order to get certain items that he can use to counter superheroes should they go rogue. And he doesn't really see a problem in this. Obviously, we do, because, yeah. And trust me, he's going to make a lot more morally gray decisions later on down the road. Without spoiling too much, he's going to make a lot more morally gray choices in some points in the future. Now, like I said earlier, PTSD does not equal, you know, a villain. It does not, you know, mental illness does not equal villain in any way, shape, or form. And it does piss me off when, you know, mental illness is portrayed for villainy in most forms of media, and I'm sorry to say it shows a lot up in comics. But having said that, that kind of pressure and mental stress that Bill put Dipper through and put the entire town through would definitely push him to make some very, you know, malicious and very, like, cold choices in his life. He would very much, that kind of mental pain would definitely influence how he would operate in the future. So yeah, I've always said, and I've definitely always defended that Dipper would make it, Dipper Pines in the future, if they did another Gravity Falls, he should be the villain. He should totally be the villain of the story. He's willing to go those kind of extra lengths. I could see him doing something downright cruel to somebody if given the chance. So, yeah, totally. But that's just my personal opinion. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of the idea of Dipper Pines from Gravity Falls being a supervillain? What do you think? What kind of villain do you think he'd be like? Do you think he'd be like a world conqueror, or like Syndrome, or something of that nature? Could you see him as a hero or a redeemable villain? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.